kind of feeling the YA fantasy. But I'm just a girl, you know? I see something pretty and it makes me happier and it elevates my entire experience. Why are these your thoughts? Why are these your actions? Like, girl. Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to today's video. This is the first reading vlog of 2025. How exciting. I am not really one to make New Year's resolutions. Yes, I set my reading goal for the year on Goodreads, but that's generally pretty much all I do for New Year's resolutions. But this year, I really want to make a goal for myself to actually prioritize reading all of the series that I'm in the middle of and trying to just like finish them, because I am currently in the middle of so many. If you guys watch my video, I think I posted it in November maybe. I discussed which series I'm going to continue, which ones I'm maybe going to continue, and which ones I am likely not going to continue. So watch that video if you haven't yet, just to like catch up and see what I'm in the middle of. Obviously I filmed that video like around 2 months ago, so a few things have changed. I've like progressed in a few of those series, finished some maybe, and then started another whole bunch obviously. So right now, what is the exact number? I'm currently in the middle of 36 series, but I think out of those, I will only continue 25, likely. I think I'm dropping 11 of those because I just have no interest in continuing on with them. I would prefer to prioritize the books and series that I actually enjoy, obviously. Out of those 25, I think 11 of them are waiting for the next books to be released. So let's just head over onto our TBR cart and see what we can continue this week. Here we are. Let's see what we have to work with. You know what? I'm gonna clip you guys so I have two free hands. We have The Mime Order and The Final Gambit. This is the second book in the Bone season, which is like dystopian fantasy, and this series has 7 books total. I have The Final Gambit, which is the 3rd book in the original Inheritance Games series. I think there's like a main trilogy, but then there's like a 4th one that is like associated with that main trilogy, and then there's a spin-off from that, so definitely want to continue. Fate of the Sun King, which is like romantasy. This is the 3rd book in a 4-book series. I will say I enjoyed the 1st book, like it was fine, and then the 2nd book was kind of a miss for me. And so I have the 3rd one, so obviously I'm gonna read it, but honestly, I think if this book does not do it for me, I probably won't finish the 4th one. Like I probably won't get that one and finish it. So we have that. A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This one is the prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree, which I think they're like technically grouped as a duology now. So that's a thick one. I don't know if we're gonna go for that one this week. Gonna be completely honest. Oh, I have the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. Hold on. Can I take this sticker off? It's bothering me. Bothering. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. You know what? The sticker is giving me some trouble. Oh no, wait. I think I got it. I think I got it. Ooh. Oh no, no, no. It's doing that thing where it like rips. Oh no. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. She is sticker-free. Success. This is the 3rd book in the Friend Zone series by Abby Jimenez, and this is the last one I have to read in that series. So if I read this one, I will check an entire series off my list, which is great. Siege and Storm, of course. The 2nd book in Shadow and Bone. Oh, Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, the 2nd book in Rose Hill. That's what the series is called. Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, the 3rd book in this Magnolia Daisy universe. Her Radiant Curse by Elizabeth Lim. This is the prequel for the 6 Crimson Cranes duology world. I think I have one up there on my January TBR. One sec. Foxglove by Adalyn Grace. This is a YA gothic-y, horror-y romantasy that's super fun. So there's that. And so this is the lovely pile of series that I could technically continue right now. You know what? I'm actually going to load these onto the top rack of my TBR just so I have them like up there. They're in my face. I'm gonna prioritize them this year. That's actually a really good idea to keep all of these top rack of the TBR cards. So let's just do some rearranging right now. No way did those just fit perfectly on this top rack, like snug as a bug. I can't believe those actually fit. Which one do I want to start with though? I'm definitely thinking a fantasy to start. I want to like kick off this year with a fun fantasy read. I'm looking at Mime Order, and I'm also looking at Foxglove. You know what? Just because the Bone season isn't like all the way released yet, I'm gonna do Foxglove first. This is a completed trilogy. All the books are out. I have all the books. So this is a series I could actually potentially finish. Like, it's just all up to me. I'm not waiting on any publishers or authors. If you guys don't know what the series is about, as I mentioned, it is like a gothic-y, horror-ish romantasy. It's YA. We follow Signa, who has always been surrounded by death and poisons. She actually like knows who Death is. Death is a character. He is the literal Grim Reaper in this book. As she grows up, everyone around her just keeps like dying. Like she can't hold on to a caregiver. Anyone who associates themselves with her ends up dying very soon after. So she thinks she's cursed. Everyone in town thinks she's cursed. And so in the first book, Belladonna, when she gets the chance to travel and live in this really expensive, nice luxury mansion estate and try and enter like high society, she's just really hoping her life finally turns itself around. Obviously, it doesn't. Things just get more and more complicated as we go to this new estate. And then Foxglove, I'm pretty sure she's going to another location. Without spoiling what happens in the first book, I think we are moving to another place of living. I'm really excited to read on. We'll see how this one goes. Guys, look what I just got in the mail. If you've watched my, I don't know, couple of previous videos, you might have seen that I got an Indigo gift card for Christmas, obviously, because everyone knows that I just want all the books. But I made an order with that gift card and the books just arrived, and I thought they were appropriate to show in this video because, first of all, obviously I got Glow of the Everflame, which is the second book in the Spark of the Everflame series, which is something I'm really excited to continue. This is going straight into my top shelf of my TBR, which has no space again. So we're just going to plop her onto there. Perfect. And then once I don't know, hopefully finish at least one series to check off my list, I do want to get started into the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. This is something I have heard so much about for the past year, and then also just like a lot about lately. I'm seeing a lot of people read these books and absolutely love them, and I've been wanting to read these for a long time. I just have so much else to read that I never really got around to acquiring this book and getting into it, but I think it's finally time. I've just heard like all good things about this. I've also heard that it's very similar to The Will of the Many in terms of like how the book starts, and that was one of my favorite books of 2024. So if this is anything similar to The Will of the Many, I will probably love it. But yeah, that's Red Rising. That is not for this video, but to start at some other point. And I do want to talk about Foxglove, obviously, because this is the book I'm currently reading. Tea of the day, by the way, Earl Grey Rooibos High Sage. This is a new tea that I have recently discovered. It is from David's Tea. It has the flavor of Earl Grey, but like the non-caffeinated benefits of rooibos, because like I have nothing against people who drink caffeine. I just like myself, my body can't handle it anymore. I like literally feel sick and nauseous and I get a headache when I drink caffeine. So I always loved Earl Grey. Like when I wasn't sensitive to caffeine back in my younger years, I always loved Earl Grey, but I can't drink it anymore because I can't handle caffeine, like even tea caffeine. There's something going on with me. But this tea has all the flavor of Earl Grey, but it's made out of rooibos, and rooibos is a non-caffeinated herbal tea. So I'm just so happy about this discovery. But anyways, enough of me and my tea journey. I'm also feeling a little congested. You can probably hear it in my voice. I feel like we just Christmased too hard, and that's not gonna stop us from reading. So I'm 74 pages into this so far. Absolutely loving it. I'm right back into it. I didn't really know where this second book would take us because the first book seemed to be like pretty concluded. Like obviously I could see like where we were going to go next, but in terms of like loose ends, we pretty much tied most of them, I would say, in the first book. I don't remember feeling like left on some sort of a cliffhanger at the end of the first book. So yeah, I didn't know what like the main plot and premise of the second one was going to be, and then immediately right off the bat at the beginning of the book, someone dies. So similarly to Belladonna, Foxglove seems to be a murder mystery, which I absolutely love. We also, in the second book, have an added POV. We have a new POV unlocked, which I'm really excited to read more about, because the POV is of a secondary character that was in Belladonna, who now obviously seems to be taking more of like a protagonist role. We still have our like main protagonist as like the main character, but yeah, we have this secondary character who seems to be stepping into some sort of a role, and I think this person will likely also have powers of their own. And then on top of that, we have a new villain unlocked as well, who so far I think is really interesting and really intriguing, and I'm so into it. I love books where I love the villain and the villains are interesting, because I feel like those are hard to write. Like, it's so easy to write a villain that you just hate and it's just very stereotypical villain playing the villain role. But when you have a villain role with like more ties with the main characters, and like there seems to be more interesting lore and backstory involved, that's when villains get interesting, and I think we're gonna get that from this so far. That is my feeling. I am already loving this as a sequel. It doesn't feel like a second book, like it doesn't have second book syndrome. It seems to have its own thing going on and not just like serve as a connector between the first book and the third book in a trilogy, which is what a lot of second books end up being. All that to say, I've only read 75 pages, so we need to keep reading before I can make my final judgments. I did it. I just finished this book. I absolutely really enjoyed this as a second book. I think it was so well done. As I said, it didn't feel like it had second book syndrome at all. I feel like the story was maybe even more interesting than the first book was, which I love. I love when a series just like gets better as it goes on. But yeah, if I were to like describe this book compared to other books, I would say this is like a Once Upon a Broken Heart meets like Bridgerton and then also meets like gothic spooky ghosts and stuff like that. There are a lot of similarities between this and Once Upon a Broken Heart. First of all, we have these godlike fate type characters who are like super powerful, and they're definitely like pretty major characters in the series. So we have that similar to Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then just make it more like Regency era courting, very Bridgerton-esque, especially in this book. We had, I feel like, a little bit of that in Belladonna, but in Foxglove we really embraced the whole like courting season and like all of that. So this was really fun. It is like a murder mystery type of a book, so we do get like some twists and big reveals at the end, and I feel like similar to Belladonna, it's like I feel like I guessed 65 to 70% of the twists at the end of this book, but there were still like some surprises left at the end, which I always love, because I think, here's what I think, okay? When you're reading like a murder mystery and then the twist gets revealed, if you see that reveal and you're like, hold on, where did this come from? It came like way out of the blue. I actually don't like that in mysteries, because if you're reading a mystery book that's well done, you should be able to sort of start piecing together things where like maybe you don't guess the entirety of the big reveal at the end, but you like guess some of it, so it makes sense, but then there's still like a part of it that surprises you. I think all mysteries should strive to do that, because yeah, whenever I read a mystery that just like completely like does a 180, 360, whatever the angle, I just get really disappointed at it. Like, really? Like, I feel like I was using my brain this whole time, and I feel like there's no backing up like substance throughout the book to prove this claim at the end. But in this case, I think it's really well done, like the mystery and the reveal and everything. So that's Foxglove by Adalyn Grace. I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star. I do think it was like slightly better than the first book, and I'm so excited now to read the third book, because it seems like it's gonna be juicy, and I feel like our second protagonist really stepped up and is going to just continue to be a powerhouse throughout the third book. Loved that one. Let's find another one to read. This is kind of a weird angle, isn't it? I didn't know where else to place you, but hold on, you know what? Let's put you on this chair so you can at least see what's going on my TBR and see what I'm looking at. So what do I want to read? I don't know if I want just a straight romance right now. I'm kind of feeling the YA fantasy. I feel like that was so fun. I am so tempted to pick up Wisteria right now because it's right here on my shelf and it's fresh in my mind, but I feel like that would maybe be boring for you guys to watch just to see me like complete one series. I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling the YA fantasy. That was really fun. Oh, you know what else I wanted to say about Foxglove and Belladonna and probably Wisteria is that although it's a YA romantasy series, there is like a little bit more spice than I would expect in a YA, which is really interesting. It's like nowhere near like adult or new adult spice levels. It's not like smut, but there is like, they go further and like it's described in like a little bit more detail, and it's not like completely fade to black, you know what I mean? It's not like vulgar. It's not like vulgar smut, but it does take it farther than what I've read in other YA books, which is really interesting. It's not spice that I can't handle. It's like minimal, you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm thinking either Glow of the Everflame, which I just got, or Siege and Storm. I think I'm gonna do Siege and Storm first, and if I'm still feeling the fantasy after Siege and Storm, I'll do Glow of the Everflame, because I just got Glow of the Everflame in that package yesterday, and I feel like I would be cheating on all the other books that I've had for so much longer if I just picked up Glow of the Everflame immediately. We're gonna do Siege and Storm, the second book in the Shadow and I just yeeted that book. I'm sorry book. This is the second book in the Shadow and Bone series. Same universe as Six of Crows. There's a TV show made. The first one was very like, it was pretty like typical YA fantasy. We follow like an orphan FMC who comes into her magical powers. She's been hiding her magical powers. We meet a darkling. We have a shadow daddy in this series who knows about her like secret powers and wants to use them for his purposes. We don't know if his purposes are good or bad at the moment. This is the second one, so that's what we're gonna read next. Hello, it's a couple days later. As you can see, my room is back to normal. You may have been wondering why there was a bed or a mattress in my room, because we're painting our main bedroom, so we just had to move everything in here while that room was being painted. And yeah, we're now in the process of moving everything back. I'll show you the new bedroom when everything's like back in its place and like looks nice, because right now it's still just, you know, things are everywhere. But we have our room back. I will say though, it was pretty cozy having a bed in the library. I wouldn't recommend it for all times just because like there was literally no space for anything else in this room with that mattress in here, but the idea of having a bed and being able to like sleep with your books is very, very cozy. That being said, I did finish Siege and Storm. I definitely like blasted through this. It's a YA book, so it just goes by so quick. There also aren't like that many words on each page, you know what I mean? And I find that with a lot of YA books is that they just go so fast because the pages, like the margins, the font, the spacing, everything's just so big. You just flip through them really quick. But what did I think of this? I had the time of my life reading this, which is so funny because I feel like I've heard so many mixed things about the series. I know everyone talks about how Six of Crows is better, but I'm gonna be a little bit unpopular here with my opinion. I am living for this trilogy now. I think at the end of Shadow and Bone, the first book, I was like, okay, I can see why people say Six of Crows is better because the ending of that one was not very strong. But Siege and Storm, I devoured. I ate up the whole thing, beginning, middle to end. I just feel like I was having the time of my life reading this, and it felt really nostalgic. I just felt like a teenager again, but like in all of the best ways. So yeah, we follow our main character Alina as she travels to more places, goes further on her fantasy epic adventure quest thing, and she encounters some new characters, which I love, like Nikolai in this book. So funny. He was probably the best part of this book. He was just like so, yeah, like funny, snappy. I loved him. It's definitely a very chosen one story, which I know like nowadays gets a lot of criticism when we have a main character who's like so chosen one, so like prophesied to save the world. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I love that trope. Again, it makes me feel like nostalgic, maybe like back to my childhood when all books were like that. I just love those types of stories. Reading this is also making me want to watch the Netflix show. Now that I've read the Six of Crows duology and I will hopefully soon finish this trilogy, I think it's time to see what the show is all about. I know it's like really different from the books because it's like Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone combined into the same timeline, which seems so strange. I don't know how they're going to do that, but I've heard good things about the show as well. That was Siege and Storm. Honestly, I read it in a way where like I wasn't even thinking of like what to say about it, like what to review about the book. I just got so into this that I just read it as an enjoyer of books and a devourer of books, and the vibes were great. Loved it. On Goodreads, I just gave this a 4.5, so that's a really, really high rating. And then, yeah, I was still in the mood for fantasy, because I feel like Foxglove and Siege and Storm were both such hits. I did decide to pick up Glow of the Everflame. I actually was a little bit torn between this one and the Mime Order, so I let you guys choose for me. I posted on my Instagram story yesterday, and you guys chose the Glow of the Everflame for me. So I think this is adult. Here we are in a world of half god people. The magical people are called the Descended, and basically they're descended from a line of like mortals crossbreeding with gods like way back in the day, and then now like there's like all these lines of different crossbreeds pretty much. And then we have mortals. The Descended are also, they're elemental, so we have like different types of Descended with different elemental magic, and our world is very divided into factions. So it's not like all the elemental Descended people are living together and mingling and working together. It's very like segregated in terms of like what line you're descended from, what power you have, and then that's the land you live on. There's also something very interesting where it seems like the land you live on, like that's where your power is the strongest. So if you have power, you're Descended, and you go to another territory, your power is gonna like feel a little bit more weak there because it's like not on your land. I don't know, it's really interesting. But our main character, DM, is a mortal. She is a healer, and she has learned everything from her mom. She's like she's like following her mom's footsteps of being a healer. But at the beginning of Spark of the Everflame, the first book, her mom has been missing for 6 months. So there's this whole mystery of like what happened to her. It's just like a big mystery. So DM has to, in the meantime, step into her mom's role of healing people, and especially healing the royals. And of course, the royals are all Descended people. So yeah, DM gets sort of like twisted into royal secrets. A lot of things get exposed in the world, in politics, and then DM is also keeping a secret to herself. And the first book was so fun. It was definitely, it's a slow burn type of a story in terms of the plot and in terms of like the romance subplot, which I loved. Like I love a good slow burn. And then yeah, we have Glow of the Everflame. And Spark of the Everflame was one of those endings. It was another one of those endings where like you finish the book and you're like it leaves you on such a cliffhanger. It just makes you so excited to dive into the next one. And then picking this one up yesterday, opened to the first page, realized that it's one of those sequels that picks up immediately, like the second after the first book finishes. So we're like literally just diving straight back into the action, right back into the moment where we left off. And I love that because it just like puts you straight back into it. It makes you like, I don't know, it immerses you immediately right back in. And then after that moment, we kind of like go back to that slow-paced, slow burn vibe that is this series. And I will say, now that I think I read like about just over a third of this yesterday, the burn is now a little bit too slow, I think, for a sequel. I think I loved it in the first book, but then when things started picking up, I was like, okay, now we're going somewhere. But then we definitely like slowed way back down with the sequel. I think we slowed down a little bit too much. I also think DM as a character in this book is frustrating me a little bit because she's one of those FMCs that like, she's very untrusting. She doesn't trust people, and that's fine. We went through all of that in Spark of the Everflame, but I feel like the progress she made in that book has just been sort of erased in Glow of the Everflame. Like everything just got reversed and now she's back to like sort of the beginning. That's a little frustrating to me. It's one of those like, you know, when you get like a slow burn romance, obviously like our characters are going to be like a little bit mean to each other at the beginning because they're like enemies to lovers, but then once they start lovering, then it's like, okay, we're in for it. But I feel like DM is not accepting that the enemies to lovers arc is now in the lovers phase. Those are all of my thoughts for now. I probably have more thoughts that I just can't think of this very second, but Glow of the Everflame, we're gonna continue reading this. I feel like starting to enjoy it more now. It's started to pick up again now that we're like around the middle of it. Let's keep reading. Oh my gosh, also, hold on. I need to clip my mic to myself to be able to show you this, but I hope this will show up on camera. I had no idea that these books were like this on the inside. Can you see? Can you see like the engraved pattern into the cover? Absolutely stunning. I had no idea. And I also checked my hard copy of Spark of the Everflame and it has the same thing inside. I had no idea. And then these gorgeous inner paper, and at the beginning of each chapter, I'll show you chapter 1, and I'll block the text so it's not spoilery, but every chapter heading page looks like this, and it's so pretty. And I know it's like, it's such a small thing when you're reading a book, like, you know, you should be paying attention to the words and not what it looks like, but I'm just a girl, you know? I see something pretty and it makes me happier and it elevates my entire experience. But yeah, these books are just stunning. So I'm gonna keep reading.
Are you at the end?
No, not even. I'm only like this much. More than a third to go.
No.
I feel like this book was kind of like being boring, and then now I'm like really sad. That's it.
Bye.
Bye. What a wild ride. First of all, just to put this out there right now, I'm giving this book a 3.5. So mixed about it. I think overall still a positive experience reading this book, but okay, let's just like go through what I liked and then what I didn't like about this, okay? So first of all, Penn writing. Love. It is one of those writing styles that is easy to consume. Like, it doesn't get in the way of the storytelling. It's really effective in that way, but then also it's not like so simple that it feels Wattpad-y or like just like not elegant. Like, it still feels like good writing, but it's not like so good that it's distracting, if that makes sense. And I think it really suits the romantasy genre as a whole, like really, really well. The love interest in this book is amazing. Like, probably, honestly, one of the better love interests that I have read. He's a great love interest character with like a lot of depth, and you can support him, and there's intrigue and there's mystery, and the yearning is really set up super, super well. And yeah, I honestly don't have anything to complain about love interest wise, but the main character, on the other hand, DM. Reading this book felt like me just like screaming at her the entire time. Like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Why are these your thoughts? Why are these your actions? Like, girl, she has to get it together. She was so frustrating to me throughout this entire book. I don't remember feeling that way in Spark of the Everflame. So I think it was just in this one Glow of the Everflame where, yeah, I was just like, what is this girl doing? Like, what is going on in her brain? And then the other frustrating thing was, I think I talked about this a little bit, but the overall pacing and story of this definitely fell under like second book syndrome, where the overall story feels like a bridge between book 1 and book 3. And I know, like, if you think about it technically, yeah, book 2 should bridge book 1 and book 3, but you have to also, like, I don't know, look at it as its own book with like a beginning, middle, and end, like a story in itself. And I feel like this one really, really felt like not fully filler, because there were some really important things that happen in here, but this could have been like 200 pages shorter. And then yeah, for the pacing, as I mentioned, the beginning was just like, it threw us right into like a big climactic moment. So it was like super, super quick at the beginning, and then we slowed down and got into like more like court politics, which usually I love, but I feel like there was just, it was too slow here. Like, the amount of pages it took for anything to progress, really, it was a lot. And then I would say at like the 350 page mark, we started to pick up again. It got interesting, and then DM got annoying again. And then I feel like we regressed like 20 steps in the plot, and I was like, why are we back here? And the last like 100 pages was like incredible, like so good, like no notes for the last 100 pages of this book, but it took a long time to get there, which is why I'm so mixed opinion on this one, because yeah, like there were some really great moments, and like it's one of those books where like when you read the end, you want to like boost your rating up because of how good the ending was, but then when you like think back at the entire book as a whole, it's like, no, the entire book wasn't that great. It was just like we ended on such a good note. So all that to say, unfortunately this one did feel very second book, but I am obviously going to continue in the series because that ending hooked me right back in, and I just hope DM stops being so annoying as a main character. A little nervous though, because I looked on Goodreads and I think the Kindle version of the book is like 1,000 pages long for the third book in the series, and the hardback is like 800 pages long. So I'm like, if this one felt slow, how slow is the next one gonna feel? Like, I hope there's a lot of action. I hope a lot of stuff actually happens to fill those 800 to 1,000 pages. I'm gonna read it. It's gonna be really long. I hope it's good. But yeah, those are 3 books that I've read in this vlog. We definitely made some progress continuing some series. I didn't finish any, but we are now positioned to finish at least 2 of them. Like, I have 1 book left in Shadow and Bone and 1 book left in Belladonna. We're making good progress. We could finish off 2 series this month if I really wanted to. So there we have it, progress made on these 3 series. Oh my god, it's so heavy to hold books in this way. I don't know why I gripped them using this very, very weak hold. Do you see that? I'm like shaking. Anyways, let's put those down. Those are the 3 series that we made progress on in this video. If you do like this like series concept video as a whole, please let me know in the comments and we can make this a regular thing. Maybe like monthly we can do a reading vlog where we progress some series. Let me know if you'd like to see that. And I think overall this was a very successful vlog because I'm not dropping any of these series as of this point. So if you did like this video, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know what series you want to finish this year. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!